born with PTA Global. You know, I just finished my workout, and I took a little more time in my rest periods today because I was just kind of a little fatigued, just sort of modifying my exercise program. And it got me thinking, the more time I have in between sets and exercise, the more my brain works. And so I started thinking about progression and regression. You know, if you're watching this, you've probably seen some of the other videos. You've seen a lot of different exercises demonstrated. You've probably come up with a lot of exercises yourself or watched other people do exercises. You know what? It's all key and it's all great. It's all wonderful. But to me, the importance and one of the key aspects of good training, whether it's for yourself or for clients or other people, is the ability to progress and regress. Progression and regression are absolutely vital because that's what really customizes the exercise or the program or the workout to the client. So I want to go over just a couple of things that were just in my mind, just very simple. This is not comprehensive, I don't have enough time, but just give you some ideas that will either rekindle some things, reaffirm some things, or bore you to death, whatever. So what I want to do is there's two things that I want to look at. First and most importantly, progression and regression is always dictated by your client. It is your client's program, and it is your client who is receiving the training. So whether that client is yourself or whether it's someone else, it's the client. And so that's going to change on a daily basis. Progression and regression should change on a daily basis because it's going to depend on their emotional status that day. It's going to depend on their mental aspect that day, the clarity, the things that are going on, their lifestyle, how they're eating, how well they're hydrated, their physical factors. Do they have pain, tightness, soreness? How are they moving today versus yesterday or the day before? So when we take all of those things into consideration, that is going to dictate how we progress and regress a lot of the different acute variables. So that is one whole bucket in and of itself, and that's obviously something at PTA Global we put together an advanced course. So if you want to learn about that, go to the advanced course and you're going to find out some really cool stuff. But some other things relative to progression and regression that I want to talk about are related to an exercise. So I want to pull out one component and talk about essentially posture, which is everything in an exercise, and how we can manipulate that to change the exercise. And so what I want to look at is three things kind of relative to posture. We have static for all intents and purposes. We have a transitional, and we have a dynamic type posture. So a static posture is essentially, let's take a dumbbell curl. If I'm doing dumbbell curls, my posture, and I'm looking basically at everything but what's moving. Okay, so my posture is static. My arms and legs, my trunk and my legs and everything is static. Okay? If I want to do transitional, I can now move. Now, transitional is the movement of your center of mass without a change in the base of support. So my base of support is my feet. So my feet stay where they are, but I can start changing my center of mass. So I can make it go up and down. I can make it go side to side. So if I want to go side to side, that's transitional. I can go transitional this way, and I can go transitional this way. I can lean forward and back. I can go up and down. So those are transitional. Dynamic just simply means I'm changing my base of support. So now my center of mass has to catch up to or be maintained within my base of support. So now dynamic is stepping and curling. So I can now step and curl. So I can make it more dynamic. I'm changing my base of support. I can increase the dynamicness, is that a word? I can increase the dynamicness of it, or the dynamicity, how do you like that one? By just moving and not necessarily stopping after I change. So I can come forward and I can come backward. So I can move, which is dynamic, or I can move more like an aerobic exercise. So we have those two. And I can increase that even more by creating a jump. So I can jump and do it with hopping or jumping or movements that are a little bit more dynamic. So you have varying degrees of dynamic by being just moving the base support and holding, moving it and continue to move, or moving it with a little bit more amplitude and velocity, so to speak. So those are some things that I just want to throw out to you guys just to give you some examples. Okay, so take some of your exercises and manipulate them a little bit. So if you're going to do something, say, just a reach. So I'm going to do a reach down and pull, or an exercise that you can come out here, something that you've seen me do before. Well, I can do it more static, where I'm not really changing the motion of my lower body or trunk, or I can get more transitional with it, or I can get more dynamic with it. I can step out, or I can come over, or I can increase that. So you can take your exercises and manipulate them to increase their ability. Now, people are going to say that static would obviously be the easiest, transitional would be harder, and dynamic would be much harder. Yes and no. Remember, when we stay in a static posture, we require all of the components of the body to contract. So if I'm doing a bicep curl, my whole posterior chain, or the superficial back line, for all intents and purposes, if I'm doing this, has to contract and hold me in that position. So as I come out here, I want to pull forward, so it's keeping me upright. So by doing that, you create essentially an isometric contraction. And you focus stress essentially on the elbow and to some degree the shoulder joint, but really the elbow and the anterior arm. So you're focusing a lot of stress. If I rock, what I do is I create a rhythmical contraction. So I have a rhythm to it that now disperses the load through the entire chain. So by dispersing that load and those forces through the entire chain, I take pressure off of certain areas. So while from a motor learning standpoint, this might be easier to conceive and to understand, perhaps from a myofascial standpoint, this may be a little bit easier on the body and the system to distribute forces. And there may be a lot of other things that go along with that too. Now the dynamic motion, that all depends on your client. So don't get trapped and caught to think that it's always static to dynamic is the progression, and just because this looks simple, it may be the best thing for the body. If someone can move like this, that may actually be a very good exercise for them, given their goal and who they are and their ability level. Okay? So I just wanted to show you some things. So using a couple of quick exercises, it's the same thing. If you were going to do a press and a tricep extension, well, you can stay static and do that, or you can do it a little more transitional, or you can go up, so just getting more transition in there, or you can make it dynamic. Okay? So just remember kind of those three things, and regardless of what it is. And it works with cables too. So if you have cable, just think of yourself doing some type of chest exercise. You can stay static, or you can go transitional, or you can go dynamic. Okay, whether it's chest, whether it's a row, you can go all the different facets. So I just wanted to give you a few quick things for you to think about and for you to play with, so you can take the exercises, and if you look at some of the ones that we've done in some of the previous videos, you'll notice that there's kind of a varying degree, and we've thrown those things into you. But I just wanted to give that to you as a little tidbit. Hope you enjoy it. Go play, and you know what? I want to start seeing some videos on Facebook. I want to start seeing some videos on YouTube of you guys doing some stuff. Send me an email, RodneyC, RODNEYC, at PTAglobal.com. Send me an email. Let me know. Shoot me something on my Facebook page, on the PTA Global Facebook page. Join us on PTA Global. Become a fan, and let us know what exercises you're creating. We want this to be about you. Have fun, guys. Thanks.